Hello and welcome to Set Talks, the podcast that helps you navigate and connect with the Colorado film industry. So today's guest is Dia Kline. She is an award-winning actor. She has credits across film, TV, commercials, theater, voiceover, stand-up comedy, hosting, industrial videos, and has worked as an international brand ambassador. What is that? Well, before we get into that, welcome to the show, Dia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting
I'm excited
me.
to talk to you.
Yes, I'm excited to be spoken to and to speak back.
Yeah, so what's a brand ambassador?
So that is when you are promoting a brand. So
Gotcha, yeah.
I've done two. One of them is called Lumi. It's a deodorant.
Nice.
What's the irony and the reason I was a brand ambassador and I worked with Lumi is because I can't smell. I was born without the ability to smell.
Wow.
And I wrote a blog post for them and I made funny videos and they were like, hey, you.
Nice.
That's cool.
Okay.
And so that was kind of in the early days of Lumi. And then also connected to my inability to smell. I'm a public ambassador for Fifth Sense UK, which is a nonprofit for smell and taste disorders. So I speak and make videos and empower and educate on, it's called congenital anosmia. And
Okay.
so I speak to that. I was just at the NIH in Bethesda this summer speaking to world experts on smell.
Wow.
And
I think I saw
schooling
some of
them.
the posts that you put out there about that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
Well, that's exciting. Well, that's a very interesting avenue to be able to use your acting skills, which is
Yeah.
kind of what we're getting into today. So, acting in Colorado and jobs and stuff like that. And but yeah, I mean, before we dive into some of that, tell me about your experience, I don't know if you got involved in theater in high school or something, and then just got the bug to continue doing acting stuff. And then
Yeah.
it sounds like in your career, you've gotten into all kinds of different facets of being able to use that skill. So yeah, just your experience from the start to kind of your latest project and
okay.
what you've been doing. I saw that commercial that you did for the Colorado Lottery, right?
Yeah, yep,
And
yep.
stuff.
Colorado Lottery. That was
Yeah,
fun.
just kind of paint me a picture from the beginning to, what you've been doing lately in the
Sure.
industry around here in Colorado.
All right, it's a fun journey. So
I'm excited,
it
yeah.
started when I was 7 in second grade. My parents put me in community theater, and it was Peter Pan.
That was your first role?
I was not Peter Pan.
But in Peter Pan.
In Peter
Yeah,
Pan.
That's cool.
Kids theater. And I remember they were like, who do you want to be? And this is 1979. And I'm like, the mermaid.
Nice.
Hell yeah. So I was the mermaid and I was terrified. And I remember going on stage and my line was, I know, I. And I was like, they're telling me how beautiful I am. And I'm like, I know.
Oh,
And
nice.
I was
That's cool.
so scared. And I just was like, I know. And then I was supposed to shrug my shoulder and then just, right? And I was terrified the entire time. And then I got off stage and then I was like, yeah, I liked that. Can I do it again? I can do better. So bug attacked.
That was it. All right, cool.
And then in Santa Fe where I grew up, did some children's theater classes, did theater in high school, speech and debate, won awards in improv. I won an state improv award.
Oh, cool.
My friend, my partner was named Rhea, so we were Dia Rhea.
That's
That
awesome.
was funny. And they decided to go to college. And I'm like, that seems not like a good use of my time to get a theater degree. That sounds dumb. I'd make no money. No one would pay me for that. So I'll get an art history degree because that's so much smarter. And I'll minor in Italian. Fabulous.
Oh, nice.
So-
Are you Italian?
Genetically,
Yeah.
my genome project told me yes.
Okay.
But if you were to ask me, I would have said, no, I'm Hungarian Russian. But
Okay.
I am not.
Okay.
I am
Interesting.
genetically not.
Okay, but your actual heritage
Yeah.
is Italian.
Yeah, I'm 57% Mediterranean,
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
which is, not many Jews, but what are you going to do? So I did the art history thing and got married, had a kid, and didn't do acting.
Okay.
I remember when my daughter was little, I did one I saw a commercial on the news for the Food Network. Food Network is here. Colorado has the Food Network, huge studio here. Like that's where.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
like now.
Well, maybe.
Or not.
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, it's a huge building out somewhere, Denver-y.
Okay.
And they were filming. There was a huge show at the time called Unwrapped.
Okay.
Mark Summer would take you into factories and show you how shit's made. So they were like on the news, like, we're doing a new show called Trivia Unwrapped. It's a game show based on the show. And I was just like, I'm going to do that. And so I called up and got an audition, and they cast me, and I did the show.
And this was one of your first kind of gigs as an actor?
Yeah, yeah. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
so you had moved out here with your family at this point, I'm assuming. And then...
no, I came to school.
Oh, you said.
Oh, sorry,
okay.
I messed it up. I came to school here for college, and I stayed.
Ah, got it.
Married, had a kid.
Okay.
And so I saw that opportunity, and I was like, I can do that.
Sure.
And I got the gig, and the show flopped. Like, I don't even think it. I don't even know if anybody ever saw any episodes.
Okay.
But then I was just like, that was fun. I'd like to do more, and I didn't. And then my daughter went off to college, and I had a jewelry company. I did I'm an artist, so I just committed to always being an artist. And
cool.
After she went off to college, I was like, what do I want to do now? And I'm like, why not go back to acting? Because I didn't really do it, right? And I went on to Facebook and saw a post and took a picture of myself, wrote a resume, and then got cast in a pilot.
Oh my God.
And then
when was this?
This was like in 2018.
Okay.
I'll say.
All right.
Sounds about right. Something like that.
So they were doing a pilot in Colorado?
Yeah, it's a really weird project. It was a staged TV pilot. It's not worth explaining.
Okay.
But it was a thing.
But okay.
And from that one job, still to today, the connections, the network I made from the humans of that rando odd project has catapulted me and directed my trajectory in ways I couldn't imagine, and opportunities I would never have thought, just because I did a thing. Good or bad, doesn't matter. I did a thing, met people, and I took off from there. So I literally took off from there and started doing community theater.
Okay.
And then decided to got an agent, and didn't get any jobs. Then my agent went out of business. I got another agent, and then I started, this was like, I guess before COVID, somewhere around COVID.
Right.
And got an agent, and then just started getting these higher caliber opportunities. Meanwhile, still doing community theater and Colorado Film School opportunities and little films and stuff like that. Kind of laddering up.
Sure.
And then I just kind of kept getting better opportunities and more theater and better films and more projects. And then just dink.
Yeah.
And now here I am. I just finished a 3-month run with Betsy, Boulder Ensemble Theater Company.
Oh, okay.
We did Enemy of the People.
Okay.
And so that was fabulous. That's a really great theater company.
And that was where it's in Boulder and.
Well, it's called the Boulder Ensemble.
Or did they tour around?
But their home is Denver.
Okay.
So we did the Denver Savoy, and we did a run at the Dairy. So that particular show had 2 separate runs, sold out. It was.
That's awesome.
Watch the Henry Awards. I'm telling you, there's going to be some nominations and awards for that show. It's really great.
That's cool.
Really great show. So I just finished that. I just finished a national commercial. I'm in a play it's called Almost Maine. That's going to be just a 2-day run in Longmont at the Longmont Museum, which is a really great venue for Valentine's Day. And then this summer, I'm doing Pride and Prejudice, open stage in Fort Collins in the park, Austin in the park. Come on.
That's amazing.
So,
hell yeah. What the commercial, can you talk about it, or is it not?
I think so. I didn't sign an NDA.
Okay. What brand? And... That's awesome.
Yeah, and so
they were filming it out here, and was it through an agency or?
Yeah, got the job through my agency.
Okay.
Most jobs like that, most big jobs like that, aren't posting on a Facebook group, and they're not posting on like casting networks or Actors Access. Those are like agencies hold those opportunities.
Sure.
And it's really funny. I think it's an 8-segment piece commercial where it's like two segments go to each piece. So it's like maybe I guess a 4-piece. There's a good and a bad, right? The and the ding dong.
Oh, okay.
And he guesses what I got cast as, not the ding dong.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm sure that's a fun part to play.
it's what I'm castable as, right? Nobody's casting me as like the generic saltine who's just like, and Dove cleaning detergent is the best. I use it every day. My family loves me. It's not who I'm getting. No, I'm not the believable happy mom or put together executive who's like dinky do. Not me.
Okay. Well, like I said, probably a lot more fun to play. Yes.
Yeah. And so I think arguably, we'll see when the commercial comes out. I read all the specs. I got the hardest job. The spec I auditioned for.
Is that right? Yeah.
It was, and I probably got it because nobody auditioned for it because they were like, I'm not doing that.
And you're like, let's rock and roll.
And I was like, well, that sounds like me. That sounds like my part. So I should audition for that.
That's awesome. Well, cool. Okay. So you got a lot going on. Yeah. And like, definitely like some different avenues for acting, which is really cool.
Yeah. Don't ever decide what your avenue is. It's just forward. Your avenue's forward.
Right.
As long as you move forward, opportunities will present and you can decide yes or no. I got into stand-up comedy because of Toastmasters. I won this tri-state award, and this gentleman who is a world champion of public speaking saw me. He came up to me and he waited in line to talk to me. And then he was just effusive with his compliments. And he's like, you should do stand-up. And so I was like, okay. And I did stand-up.
Okay, so you started like doing what, like 5 minutes and putting spots together?
I started doing showcases.
Okay, that's cool.
I started doing showcases.
And just writing your own jokes?
Writing my own material. I got a coach, Ron Ben Joseph, shout out, Artfully Speaking, RBJ. He was my coach. And another one of his clients was Donna Shannon. So Donna Shannon and I worked with Ron for a year and a half doing showcases across Denver, Boulder, Longmont, Front Range.
Okay.
And Donna came to me and said, you're a good writer, Dia. You ever thought about writing resumes? And I'm like, no. And I said, how much does it pay? So I'm a resume writer now.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
From stand-up comedy.
Just from doing that, you were able to network, and then you got this job. That's cool.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, it sounds like you do have a good amount of experience in Colorado. So it's like, I don't know. What are some of the acting avenues out there? I mean, like, it seems like for an actor, it's like you should get involved in theater. You should always be trying to do like film stuff, but always have a foot in theater. I don't know, and stuff.
Sure.
Like just through conversations I've heard and whatnot. Like, what's your take on like being an actor in Colorado as far as like the kind of work that comes through here? And
Colorado's a hugely commercial state.
Okay.
That's where the bulk of paying.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a lot of work commercially. We've got great commercial agents and great commercial projects with visibility, and so commercial is really fabulous. And you don't need to be union.
Okay.
Right? So we're kind of like a non-union state. The opportunities aren't here for like, do you have your SAG card? That can be a limitation.
Oh, okay.
So commercial's huge here.
For like brands and stuff, like working with ad agencies? Or?
Right, because being a union artist means you can't do a project that's not union.
Right.
Or you risk getting fined. There's just lots of stipulations that come with that. So it's worth it in certain circumstances for certain people, for certain states, for opportunities. That's a whole conversation.
Sure.
So Colorado's great money, great opportunity in commercial. It's also great for theater, right?
Okay, yeah.
We've got fabulous, high quality level theater companies of different levels, from DCPA to community theater, right? There's multiple levels. So huge opportunities in that, paid and unpaid, right?
Okay.
So laddering up. Mm-hmm. And we have a tremendously strong small short film industry, I should say. The short films in Colorado.
Yeah. Woo! Sure. No, there's a lot of people making stuff, I feel like.
The talent in Colorado, insane.
Totally.
Behind and in front of the camera. insane. We rival anywhere. We just need the opportunity. So we've got the grant, the filmmaking tax incentive that came, and so we're trying to bring in more power films.
Right, which they made some changes to it this past year, right?
I think they just got more money. They got the tax credit to the incentive to make more people come.
Sure,
I just
sure.
auditioned for a Hallmark Christmas movie that's filming here.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's Hallmark when the Hallmark buys it, or it's Hallmark-ish, whatever.
Sure.
We just had Elevations. That was a huge movie. I was in that, and then that's a funny story. Like, that's a whole rigmarole. I got cast in it, and then the day before, they were like, no.
Oh, okay.
They called me off.
That's
They
nice.
said, we're only keeping the day one people. I was a day two. They're like, we're just keeping day one for the whole shoot.
Well, who knows?
Whatever.
Well, how did you find those projects?
Agent.
Through your agent?
Agent.
Okay. How did I've always been curious about that, and I'm sure other people would like to know about that. Like, how do you get an agent in living in Colorado as an actor, or we're focused on acting, but in general, I guess I'm curious. Like, so because I've always been curious about that.
Yeah.
Like, as a commercial director, like, how do you get an agent and stuff?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But as an actor, how do you? What's the?
As an actor, as with anything in life, asking is freaking fabulous way to go, right? So bottom level can be just start calling agencies, start looking at their websites, start researching, right? And saying, what do they want? What are they looking for? So, okay, will you give me an interview? How do I get in? So I got in with a headshot and a resume and a request to, like an open call. That's how I first got it. Whereas, like, we're going to bring in a bunch of people. We're going to talk to you. Oftentimes, I think they might call it an open agency call, where they're just inviting people in.
And this being like a talent agency, like, and whatnot for actors specifically.
Yeah.
So being represented by some of the talent agencies and stuff in town.
Yeah. And so you have to pick.
Right.
Right.
And there are a good amount.
They're a good amount. Yeah. And this is just as much your interview as it is theirs.
Yep. Right,
you have just as much due diligence as they need to put on you. Mm-hmm. So it's about finding the right fit, because each agency is going to come with their own in-house opportunities, with their own strengths and weaknesses, their what they're skewing towards and against.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So first you have to do your research. So you go onto their website and you look at their roster. Most of them have rosters. And you look at, okay, women between 45 and 55. Mm-hmm. Does anybody look like me? Do they have a me?
Sure. Right.
If you are generic and they have 5 of you, they're not going to want, that's probably not your agency. Mm-hmm. Right. Find another 8. Go look somewhere else.
Okay, so finding one of the ones that maybe doesn't have people that are represented by you, just so it's like
where it's like you have a hole. I've identified you have a hole in your roster, and I can fill that hole. But if I identify that you have 5 people who are me in a different flavor,
right,
they're probably full. It's not that I'm not good. It's just that they're probably full.
Is it good to like just pick one, or can you be represented by multiple?
Not in this same region. So like you'd pick a Colorado. You can't have like.
So in state by state?
Well, some are like Wyoming might be Wyoming and Utah. I don't know.
Oh,
right?
I see. Okay.
It's like what region do they cover? So here in Colorado, I can have a Colorado agent. I can have a Utah agent. I can have a New Mexico agent. I can have a Atlanta agent, Chicago agent, right? Because they're all filtering different projects.
Okay.
So it's about, starting local first. Get your region. Get an agency that you like, that likes you. And you have to make sure they like you. And you have to make sure you like them, because they're fighting for you. They're pitching you. They're qualifying you. Oh my God, Dia would be great for this. I just submitted you for that.
Sure. So certainly like forming that relationship with them, so that they kind of are you're in the back of their mind when ultimately companies come to them, or agencies to do a brand commercial, and they're like, this person would be perfect.
Right. And it's just, they're just giving me the opportunity. They're just putting me in the room. They're not saying to the producer, oh, I got the girl.
Sure.
They're just being like.
But they can suggest. I just did a commercial for my company, and I went through that cathexis. Is that how you say it? Yeah.
I was not familiar with that one.
Yeah, I shopped around a little bit, and I was looking for people that could dance and stuff. And so they had a few people that worked at their talent agency, and they were like, these people would be perfect. They got good, they can dance super awesome. And they did, they were great. But yeah, it's like, it's almost like forming that relationship and making them remember so that when the project that does come up, then they go, oh, this person, and stuff like that. So aside from like forming that relationship, what would be things to prepare? So you said headshot,
resume, and then a reel. Do you have footage? Mm-hmm. And this is where oftentimes people start flop sweating.
Okay.
Right, where they're like,
Right.
Cart before the horse, catch 22. I want a job so I can have a thing, so I can do a thing. I don't have a thing to show you.
Right.
Right. And so one of the great ways to create your own reel is to take acting classes, take all these kinds of filmmaking and acting classes, and find people who want to do a short scene.
Right.
And now you're in a scene, and you film it.
Yep.
And now you have a reel that's focusing on you. Mm-hmm. And you're in it, with a scene partner, and that works.
Sure.
If you go look on a talent agent's roster and people have media that fills their roster, you'll often see, and it's not hard to tell, that somebody just did a self-tape.
Right. Or even like a monologue or
Yes.
whatever. Like
Yes.
all that stuff's fair game,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
to give a sense of
Yeah.
kind of your
Yeah.
acting chops and,
Yeah, I mean, and if you don't have that, and the agent wants to say, well, do a monologue for me, and we'll start working with you and building you up if they have resources that they want to put you through their process, I don't know, to get you up to speed, because they can't recommend you, and they can't promote you, and they can't support you if you're an unknown commodity.
Sure.
Right? Because it's just, if they get burned by you,
Yeah.
it's their reputation.
Right.
So it's all about relationship and validation and references and
Sure.
doing all the checks. So each agency, I'm sure, has their own barometer for what's going to pass. But it's do research and see if there's a submission process online, or if you call them up, or the other way is just to talk to other humans who are at those agencies who you know.
Sure.
So when I was doing my due diligence for Donna Baldwin, which is where I'm at, I looked at their roster. They did not have anybody like me. So I did that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you and you and you and you. I know all these people. So I just called them up or emailed them. Hey,
Yeah.
what do you know about this?
Right.
Do you like it? What do you think? And then you usually get, oh, I'll put in a word for you. Tell them I sent you. Fabulous. So networking, the people who live in that agency is fabulous.
Sure.
And then,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, can you talk about the process of kind of landing jobs, I guess, like through an agency? So just in general, like you would definitely recommend getting some sort of representation at a talent agency. And then when you're on their roster, I guess, like, I don't know, like, what's the best way to stand out? Maybe I'm assuming you provide them with the marketing materials that they would post, like, for your page.
Right, like
and
I
this
make
and that.
my reel, here's
Right.
my headshot, here's,
Yep.
I don't give them a resume because Casting Networks lives as the living resume and the living media database and the living headshot. I mean, that's where they have it on their website, but then Casting Networks is the big hub
Okay.
for here. So the way you stand out is by having a fucking good audition.
Right. Okay.
And it is really
Oh, just like when you meet with them, you want to be good so that they remember you for those
for a job.
recommendations.
Well, are we past
Oh.
are we past the agency? Or are we
Okay, so
into
you mean
jobs?
for the jobs, like
Yeah.
when you actually do get called up and maybe
Yeah.
it's down to like 3 people for one role or something. Let's say you kind of have to then meet with the brand, like the client,
No. So I'll tell you the way worked.
Yeah, totally. As an example of kind of, how that relationship and process went.
So
Yeah.
this was I don't know if this was a Donna Baldwin. It wasn't, because there were many people on the shoot. So an agency gets a casting call, and they shoot it out to the client base that meets the specs, their actors.
Yep.
So who meets the specs of this, right? They're not going to send it just to everyone, because why would the 18-year-old
Yeah, no, they're looking for a certain
Right.
cast
Yes, and
that
so
they get from the brand.
Yeah, and so
then,
they know,
yeah.
okay, here are all the people that for this spec. And so you get the casting, and then they'll say, let me know if you want to submit and which role. Right? Easy enough. So you read through it and you go, oh, I'm this is me. I want to submit for this. And then you say, yep, I'm going to submit for number 1. Great. And then they'll get you they'll send you the script, and they'll send you the specs. Sometimes it's through Casting Network. Sometimes it's through some other external upload casting site. I don't know. And then your job then is to take the specs, take the script, and self-tape yourself doing that script.
Right.
And then it just goes off to the ether. And then you have to forget about it.
Right.
And you have to just get on with life. And because your job was to do that audition. Your job was to be different, unique, stand out, amazing, whatever.
Yep.
And then you let it go. And then if you get a callback, usually it's a callback, that's when you'll meet virtually on like a Zoom with producers, directors,
Yep.
the agency, the client. But they're all black rectangles.
Okay.
So you're just like, everyone's invisible except for like the director and, you know.
Oh, so it's probably their marketing team too, like potentially.
Who knows? I mean,
like that's on the call to kind of help make, whoever wants to get involved in
all the
making some of the
decision makers.
casting decisions.
Yeah.
So it's probably a few brand marketing people, the agency,
It's a lot,
obviously the agency that
Yeah.
they're working with. But yeah, but I've been on those calls where a lot of the people on the marketing team just, they don't want to be on camera, but they're going to give
they're
their little
watching.
2 cents,
Yeah.
on the situation. Yeah.
and so you got to perform to.
Sure.
So it's almost like another self-tape.
Yep.
Sometimes it's with another person. Other times it's just you working out with the director.
Sure.
And the director just wants to see if that good audition was a fluke. Mm-hmm. Can you reproduce it?
Right.
And can you take direction?
Sure.
And also, are you an asshole? Mm-hmm. How are you
Is this gonna
reacting as a
work well?
person?
Yeah.
Colorado has an amazing film community that's mostly made up of non-assholes.
Sure. Yeah. I've noticed everyone's very nice.
Really
Yeah.
nice, really
Yeah.
supportive. This is,
Yep.
we do not have this pervasive negativity, the reputation. Colorado's fabulous. So they just want to make sure you're part of that fabulous reputation.
Sure.
And so you do
And then
callback.
hopefully they choose you. And
Right.
And then,
Because it's all about personality because we're not in the room together.
Sure.
So how am I going to jump off the Zoom box and make you see that I'm me?
Sure,
Unique
sure.
and fun. And if I'm your brand, then I'm it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, do all that. And then you wait. It's usually fairly quick. And then you get, if you're cast, it's fairly quick. If you're not cast, it's like, I wonder if they liked me. Well, they might probably liked you, but you didn't get cast.
Right. Okay.
And so that was through an agency project. Where
Okay.
sometimes if I go to Facebook and I see a project, I'll just submit my reel, my resume, my headshot, my website.
Yep.
And then they'll come back and this was without my agent. And then they'll say, great, film this, send us self-tape. Because the world is self-tape.
Right.
And then if they like it, then they'll do a callback live again with the
Yeah.
producers or with
Sure.
another human.
And is that okay to line up your own work outside of the talent agency?
100%.
Okay.
You should be constantly working. You are not waiting for them to do your job.
Right.
They're part of your job, right?
Okay.
But when you do book a job, and whether it was through them or not, you're still paying your agency.
Okay. So you do have a contract essentially to say acting work, they get a percentage.
And they're
for...
not, I would say for the most part, hiring a private investigator to make sure, right?
Sure.
But again, it's just building that relationship, right? And you're showing them that you're working. Here's $100, but I did a film. Mm-hmm. I'm working. I'm bookable. I'm out there. People like me.
Yeah.
And I book the bulk of my stuff is me booking.
Okay.
Through projects I find on Facebook or casting calls or relationships.
Sure.
Through networking or through past projects that I get. I had a project I just did where I was on set doing a film and some guy that was helping his friend do the film, I think he was doing AD stuff or PA. I don't know what his role was. Maybe doing PA for his friend. And he saw me do the scene, and he goes, Dia, I have a film that I'm making, and this role was supposed to go for a guy, and I just saw what you did. Can I send you the role? Because I would love to have you do it.
Cool.
So that's the best kind of...
Sure. So it is just about getting out there in any way possible and getting the experience and networking. No, that's interesting. Okay. I mean, I think that covers the agency pipeline pretty well as far as like finding, and there's plenty of talent agencies. You can look them up. I did it recently when I was casting this commercial I did.
And why did you pick the one you went with?
So we ended up having a casting call, and I worked through an ad agency to get them to send some people essentially to the casting call, or we were going to host one at their facility. They said we could do, and it was Cathexis, just to throw their name out there. We had a casting call. They sent a number of their people, and, we ended up hiring some of their folks to do it. One was from their agency, two of which were not.
They were non-agent represented?
Yes. And we posted a bunch of, stuff on Facebook to say, hey, we're going to do this casting call at the studio we shot at. And, one was from their agency, two not from the agency that we ended up hiring just based on, I hired a choreographer to do the dance stuff. And nice. She was there at the casting call to really weigh in on kind of what she thought as far as like, dancing capability and stuff like that, and we both just it was a partnership of deciding on the casting, especially because it's dance. I'm not a dancer. I'm just the certain energy level and fun and what looks very professional enough was really my biggest contribution. I was more obsessed with the camera work and how we were going to incorporate motion graphics into the dancing.
As it should be. You should be obsessed with your job, not everyone else's.
No, yeah. And she was, was great with that. And so it was definitely like a collaboration of deciding who we thought were the best people. And we shot it and it was great. And I think it's going to come out in January, like these ads. They're just like YouTube ads for the construction products company that I do videos for all the time. But yeah, it was a cool process. I really enjoyed working with the people over there and then ultimately finding people that really were professional and awesome.
And that will show up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true too. Even with like short films, it's like,
you see those things all the time.
People just bail.
I need an immediate casting, emergency casting.
Sure.
My actor bailed.
Right. I've had that happen to me on the 48 where people bail like the day before and it's just like, oh no.
Nightmare.
You did talk about acting classes. Do you have any, what's your experience with that? And like, for somebody who's just even like you were saying, you were just like thinking of getting into acting and then you kind of just did it. And I think it sounds like you had the personality to be able to just walk into it and do really well with it. Which I feel like for most actors, it's like, you got to have a knack for it for sure.
And confidence.
And so I mean, some of the acting classes what was your experience with that? And like, do you have any things to avoid, recommendations for people?
Oh, totally. And I will say, I did my first short film, and at the end of that film, I went, I need acting classes.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I discovered DCPA, Denver Center for Performing Arts. DCPA has adult education as well as teens. They have acting classes. They have a huge curriculum, education curriculum for theater, for film, for voice, for writing. Okay. And what is so phenomenal about DCPA, besides the caliber of the people teaching, besides the caliber of what they churn out, they have the most supportive scholarship program I've ever heard of in my life.
Okay.
It is not hard to get a scholarship from DCPA. They want you. They are funded. They want you to come take classes. They want to support you.
Okay. So if somebody maybe can't spend the money on the
that's
curriculum.
That's a $300 6-week class. I have $50. Great. Give me your $50.
So they're pretty flexible if you're really into it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a very easy application process. The board that reviews it, their internal process, I don't know what that is. I've never been turned down for anything I've asked for. Mm-hmm. And I see posts all the time. Tim McCracken is in charge of the education program there, and he'll post all the time, like, we want you. We have scholarships. Come take these classes.
Okay.
And so I invested deep and wide in taking those classes, because one of the things your agent will tell you is you need to be working, you need to be looking for work. We're going to send you work, but you need also, if you're not working, you need to be in classes.
Right.
You're never not learning. You're never not working. And so DCPA is an avenue that I've used that helped me learn and grow and network and advance across all aspects of my career trajectories. Like it's been phenomenal. And I will tell you that my opportunity at Betsy, Boulder Ensemble Theater Company, when I did Enemy of the People, I did a good audition. Sylvia Gregory did the casting. She put a thing out on Facebook. I did it, and it was like, that's a good audition. Okay. And the reason I got the job wasn't really because my audition was good. That was beside the point, right? I got noticed because my audition hit whatever they were looking for.
Sure.
Right? Whatever parameter they were looking for. It's because I got qualified. They looked at my resume, and they saw that I worked with DCPA. They saw who I worked with. They called them up and said, what do you think of Dia?
Nice.
Do you recommend her? This is a big step, stepping up into this big kind of equity theater. And that's how I got the job.
Oh, nice. So obviously the experience, but just having it on your resume speaks volumes as far as like, it at least says that you're really like serious about it.
Right. And then knowing that people will call up and check your references. Did she really do Mad Forest? Was she any good? Did you like working with her? Is she professional? Is she ready for big things? Right?
Sure.
So even just taking a class.
And what's the curriculum like? I mean, like, is it like a certain amount of weeks, certain techniques, a lot of improv? Like,
Everything.
I don't know. What are some of the
So
typical
they'll have
exercises?
beginning acting, 1, 2, 3. They'll have scene study. They'll have Meisner technique. They'll study deeply different playwrights and do like 6 weeks on a playwright. There's master classes where you do a whole play. You get cast into the play and you do the whole production. So that's like 6-8 weeks, something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you could probably fill up 2 years of classes.
Oh
easily.
my gosh.
Like,
it's on camera work, it's voice work, it's movement work, it's dance, it's Shakespeare, it's screenwriting, playwriting. I mean, I don't know what they don't offer.
Cool. I'll be sure to include their link in the description too, as well as the other like agencies we've talked about and whatnot. But
so that for me, that's what I've leaned into, and I still lean into it. When I need a class, when I need to do something, I'm always at DCPA. The other thing that is so important is knowing how to self-tape.
Okay. Yeah.
And most people don't know how to self-tape, or it's just process of trial and error, right?
Yeah, I mean, do you have any recommendations with that? I mean, certainly like just good audio, good lighting, or I don't know if it's like you want to keep the aesthetic of it pretty flat, like so it's more about you, not too busy in the frame. And
so the recommendation that I have is to take a class.
Oh, so they have classes on self-tape?
Yeah, they do at DCPA, but the class that I've leaned into, it's a gentleman named Scott Takeda. You should have him on this show.
Okay.
This guy's amazing. He has invested his career not just in being an actor, writer, director, producer, but he's a teacher. And so he's created what he calls the Takeda technique, which teaches strong self-tape technique. And he's an Emmy Award winning director, cinematographer. So he knows how lights work. He knows how sound works. And he was doing self-tapes 20 years ago and booking huge jobs off of his self-tapes before people knew what that was.
Okay.
And so he teaches how to, do you know how to do a full body slate? You don't. You just don't. Right? Do you know how to frame and light yourself properly?
Sure.
Do you know how to make your sound better? Do you know how to compress your files? Do you know how? Just the things.
Yeah.
Okay, now how about acting in a
Sure. But no, that's a good point. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to send someone a file that's like a few gigs
Yeah, and they're
for
like
like 2 minutes, and they're like, what is this?
Yeah,
like,
and it's labeled wrong.
Right,
And it's like,
right,
I'm
right.
not downloading that.
Right,
Like, no,
yep.
no. Right.
Sure.
And so understanding, because there's a lot of, it's not like gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly lifts the gate. But there's so much stuff that I was a highly booking self-tape actor, and I took his course to like, okay. And then I think for that first course for me, 20% was new information. 80% I was like, I'm good, which is valuable.
Even to just reinforce, if it's stuff you kind of already know, but it lets you know you're on the right track.
That
right,
20% that I learned, I would have paid double to have learned just that 20%.
Sure.
Which then empowered me in his knowledge and my ability. And so I just did his further classes, and I did his casting workshops with casting directors. And so that whole community there. But you have to, so you need to educate yourself on how to act. But
Sure.
you have to know how to self-tape.
Sure. What about other things? Like, I don't know, as far as promoting yourself, I mean, just like social media, like always putting stuff out, like, are you pretty active as far as like, I don't know, at least if it's just like recent projects and stuff like that? Just because I know like my wife's a photographer and I do videography, and it's just like posting on Instagram all the time, you know, and trying to post any content, like behind the scenes clips and this and that. Like, you know, I don't know. Do you have kind of a take on maybe promoting yourself in that, right? Or
It's a full-time job if you want it to be.
right, for sure. Okay.
It is part of the job to have a presence. It's not necessary. A lot of jobs want you to be more visible and have a fan base or
Sure.
whatever. Personally, I found the avenue that I'm comfortable leaning into. I'll post projects like behind the scenes, or I'll post like, oh, look, here's my lottery commercial. Ah!
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or me, the human, I'll just post stuff randomly.
Right.
Okay, that's good. And I tag the right people. That's good. But I'm not, I have no formula. I'm not obsessive about it.
Right.
I lean into my other avenue, which is being congenital anosmic and making videos and content for this other thing that who I am. Mm-hmm. Because as an actor, I'm a dime a dozen. I don't care how unique I think I am.
Sure.
Okay, you're whatever actor. Got it, right? Mm-hmm. So what makes my voice valuable is my perspective and what I have to empower and entertain and educate. And that's on congenital anosmia. And so I make videos and content, and I'm constantly leaning into that avenue, which makes me a subject matter expert.
Sure.
And gives me more visibility and more opportunity and something more to put on my Instagram than just look at me.
Right. Which, I mean, actors could do something like, or if it's just like reading a monologue or reading a scene and like self-taping in a very like what looks professional way. And there are ways to like create content, I suppose.
Outtakes and
yeah.
All of it's great. Awesome. There's
Sure.
perfect.
Something that is a little more personal to you, though. I really like that angle on it, And it's the same, it's accomplishing the same thing.
Yeah, it's putting me out there, making me memorable, showing what I project right, across the screen or whatever. Because I'll tell you, in most auditions, they'll say, tell me something about yourself.
Sure.
Right? I like ice cream. Okay, you're not, right?
Sure.
I every time, like, I was born without the ability to smell. What? Wait,
Sure.
And then 20 questions, and now I'm memorable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, sure. Well, no, cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I talk to a lot of video people, and they're always posting like little funny videos or whatever. And it's like, there's a lot of, I don't know, content pillars, I guess, if you want to call it that,
Sure.
like in terms of avenues to like make content. In some too, I have a buddy, Matt Struck, who does a lot of, in some cases, like emotional stuff where it's almost like kind of like a monologue and just like a self-reflection kind of thing. And yeah, he does videos and acting and stuff, and it's good. And it always is like really good content. And so there's a lot of ways to kind of get yourself out there on
whatever
camera.
Works, whatever time you have, whatever avenue, start with the thing. And if it doesn't work, don't do it again.
Right.
Do something else.
Cool. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we touched on it earlier as far as different projects in Colorado, but like, you know, do you have like a take on the industry here? Because like, I don't know. That's why I'm doing this podcast. I'm trying
Yeah.
to it's my own little investigation into the scene around here. And they had this thing recently. It was called the Colorado Town Hall. And they
Yes.
brought people together
Yes.
to basically review this like Colorado film study that was done that sort of identified some issues and stuff, and like ultimately like what do we need to do to build more of an industry here, like more infrastructure, a better tax incentive, you know. And I don't know, so just in general, I mean, do you have like a take on the industry around here as it relates to an actor? Because I have spoken to some actors that, you know, they're like, yeah, I've been doing stuff here, but I'm going to New Mexico, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, so I don't know, what are your thoughts on that and your take on it as far as like getting jobs here and stuff like that versus and just your take on maybe what needs to happen for it to, you know, I don't know,
Well,
keep people here.
I'm very excited, and I'm waiting on bated breath to see if Sundance isn't just teasing.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
The
Which might come
directors-
to Colorado
Which would
or
come to Boulder.
Boulder, yeah.
And the directors' labs have been up in Estes, and those have gone well, so they're happy with us and our talent base for that.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
So Sundance has this very secret, very high-end project directors labs where they bring in like Tarantino or
Oh, I've
Rob
seen
Reiner
those.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Like they bring in high-end directors,
Yep.
writers, whatever, and then they match them with a mentee within the Sundance program, and then they cast their little projects and they'll make a film over the weekend.
Wow.
So each of these 8 people in the lab have a mentor, and they've cast actors, and they're shooting a film.
But like a short.
Like a
over-
short.
Like you said, over a
Yeah.
weekend and
And
stuff.
these films are not shown anywhere.
I didn't know this existed,
Yeah.
really. Or I thought you were talking about like, I was thinking in my mind like the actors around, or you know, the Oscars like round tables or something.
Oh, yeah.
I was
No,
thinking
these are-
that.
these
So
are
this
real
is this
projects.
is its own thing.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so you won't see it. It'll be shown for the people in the director's lab at the end of the weekend.
Okay.
It's kind of like a 48,
Yeah. Right.
right? And and this has NDA all over it. Like, you don't talk about it. I never did it. I don't know what
Okay.
you mean. Can't tell you who was in it. You know, I mean, whatever.
Okay.
But we've been hosting these up in Estes for a couple years.
Okay. I
As
did
a
not know this
feeler
existed.
for, you know, Sundance. How is the infrastructure in Colorado? How is the talent in Colorado? How do we like working in Colorado?
Wow.
And so from what I know, from what I've heard, those have gone well.
Okay.
And so that would, you know, getting Sundance here, well, that would be the shortcut to how to make Colorado better in
Sure,
terms
sure.
of incentivizing and attracting. I feel that this market is phenomenal. I feel I could work the entire country from Colorado because
Right.
it's called self-tape, man.
Yeah. Right.
And it's called getting an agent in a region that you want to work in.
Right.
Right. So the thing that I stress, that I suggest always, is to know you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to live in LA?
Right.
Is your family here? What are your goals? Right? What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, there's that. So I've decided Colorado is my home. I'm not interested in being on a coast. I'm not interested in moving to Atlanta so I can be in pilot season.
Right.
I'm not interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
What I want, my goals that I've put forth for myself, I can accomplish all of them. And I've seen people have huge careers from Colorado. It is
Right.
not necessary to move.
No, cool. Yeah. Okay.
So just because Colorado may not have the film, you can get the film from Colorado and go to Utah and do the film for 2 weeks and come back.
Right. Which I
Right.
have talked to actors that do that. Like they'll go and do a show or something down in like, New Mexico or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's, and you can still live here. Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
like you're going to be gone for a few weeks and then come back here and keep going with brand commercials and stuff. And there's like a lot of TV shows that happen here too, right? Like,
In Colorado,
yeah.
are there TV shows that happen here?
I feel like I've heard of like my wife has worked on like little shoots and stuff for like television shows that filmed here that were very much like almost like HGTV kind of vibes.
Oh, yes.
And stuff
yes.
like that.
Or we had like John Quinones, what would you do?
Right. Or like just random kind of shows that you would see on like streaming and stuff like that.
Yes, yes, yes. New Mexico with the Netflix studios and all of that, you know, that's where that lives. But in terms of opportunity, Colorado has a lot of opportunity. We have a lot of phenomenal projects constantly going on. And if you just keep moving forward and looking and networking and exploring and seeing what's there, those opportunities, those networking moments can lead to the bigger projects. 48-hour film is one of the best vehicles. I suggest it to everyone.
Yep.
Because the odds are that you will never get to Cannes Film Festival.
Sure.
The shortcut is the 48. Because the 48 could take you to Cannes much faster than the independent film you did and hoping it gets distribution.
Right. Yeah, totally.
You can make it to Cannes easier and faster through the 48. You can get laurels through the 48. You can win awards through the 48.
Yep.
It is so supportive. You get footage, guaranteed footage.
Right.
From the 48.
After the 2 days, too, typically, or whatever the director or producer want to release it. Which it's for people that don't know, it's the 48-hour film project, if they want to look that up.
Thank you.
But yes, no, I'm all about the 48. I think I've done it like 10 or so times now. Yeah, it's a great experience.
Tremendous.
Yeah, just boot camp for everything about making a short film or
because
a film.
If you win your state, you'll go to is it the semifinals? I think it's in LA. Maybe they change it.
Oh, I think it moves around.
Does
but
it
yeah,
move
I think
around?
Maybe 2 years ago or when you and I did it a couple years ago, maybe it was LA.
When Lucidity with Matt and Hannah, when that one won, I believe they went to LA.
Right, right.
And they did not win. They did not go to Cannes. But dude, they won.
Yeah.
You're networking with and all these people. Come on.
Totally. Yeah. No, I actually had him on the podcast to talk about that.
I know, yeah.
And it was awesome. And that was the first year they had done it, which is insane.
Listen, I've been in films with Hannah, so I was cheering for Hannah. And after I saw that film festival, after I saw that film, because Hannah wasn't at the screening, I walked up to Matt and I was like, I have to tell you who I am because I need you to know who I am because I need to know who you are because that film is going somewhere and Hannah's going to win Best Actress and you're going to win and you're going to go and you're amazing. And boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and he's gone on to make feature films that he was able to put together, which I'm trying to have him on again just to talk about that.
That process.
Because that was more about the 48, but like, you know, and I interviewed a guy based out of Colorado Springs. His name's Wesley Clark, and he made this movie called Serona.
Yes, with Brianna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they were able to raise the money, and
they just got funded for 2.
Yep, that's right.
And
that's
Ashley,
right.
Is it Ashley Hindman? She was Serona. Anyway.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think yes. She's got red hair, maybe, or, well, anyways, yeah. But yeah, so it's like, you know, and he kind of started with the 48 and then just kept making short films after that and then worked his way into making feature films and getting them funded and stuff.
It's because of the 48.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, definitely, I couldn't recommend it more either.
And that's how I met you. And I introduced Tara Fox to you.
Oh, really?
From the 48. So I met is it Tara?
Yeah, Tara.
Tara? Is it Tara? I can never remember. I'm sorry.
Tara Fox.
I'm sorry, Tara.
Also
Tara.
Another amazing actress.
Right.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I met her at a Sylvia Gregory mocap class. So she put on this class and Tara and I got booked together and we're just like became fast friends. And then she's a VO artist and I was starting into VO and so she gave me great people to look at and great hints and so turning the favor back, I said, hey, I just won Best Actress last year at the 48. Woman, you need to go get part of the 48 so you can get footage and you need to go to Donna Baldwin, tell them I sent you and you need to get on their roster. You need an agent. And so she signed up with Donna Baldwin. She went to 48.
Oh, nice.
She got your film.
Yep.
And she just won at I think it was the Voice Society. She just won an award.
Yep.
I think it was demo. I think she won a demo for voice demo. And that's from a class.
Right, right.
Dink, 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 dink,
Yeah, yeah. So you just got to get out there. Yeah. And there's avenues to do it for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And yeah, and you got to put the time in and
Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy.
That is wild.
When you
I
track
forgot
it,
about
it's
that. Yeah,
crazy.
that and yeah, I love Tara. Yeah, I've been trying to make this short film and she's the star of it.
Because you're doing this motion capture thing with
That's
her.
right. Yeah, yeah.
And that's her specialty, martial arts,
Yep.
mocap.
Yep, yep. And she introduced me to this director that I just had on that works at Deck 9 Games. If you've heard of that.
Yes.
And they
Oh,
cast,
hello.
that's a great resource to be a lookout for actors. 'Cause
Sylvia
they're-
Gregory cast Deck 9.
Oh, is that right? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, and I've been trying to get into that space. But you know, it's a lot. I'm obsessed with special effects, but it's been an interesting journey diving into Unreal and like motion capture acting in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Which is very accessible to people now, which is crazy.
Yes.
The body capture, there are resources, but not as well as like if I was at a studio or something
Yeah.
like that. So they're not perfect, but anyway, I digress. But yes, exactly. Getting involved in things in the 48, it can spring you towards who knows what. And yeah, even just for networking, it's excellent.
Huge.
Certainly the experience of it too. Well, yeah, I mean, like, do you have any advice for actors starting out? Like, certainly, like, get involved in things like the 48. Like, you know, what would be theater? What would be your just, you know, kind of elevator pitch to somebody?
I would say get involved in the community. A lot of people like to work various areas, right? Where it's like, I'll work backstage. I'll be a PA. I just want to be on set. I want to experience, right? So be open to the possibilities of finding projects and look at those casting boards on Facebook. They're tremendous. So start stalking and following and joining all those castings on Facebook for your local area.
Oh, and there's like a lot of Facebook groups, right?
Tons.
I don't know. What would be some that people should?
Galena's is a big one. Galena's Casting.
Okay.
And that one is affiliated with the Colorado Film School, so you'll get a lot of film student stuff, which is the place to start. Just, you know, and that film school itself has open castings, I think once a year, where you go in and it's like a round robin of just filming a monologue and going into different rooms and pitching, you know, auditioning for different projects from the graduating students and stuff like that. So, you know, be open and start exploring. Join the get a membership at the things that support your community, like WIFMCO.
Yep.
Like
or CFVA.
Yes.
Colorado Film and Video Association.
Yes, yeah. Be part of a networked group that's having monthly meetings, weekly coffees, whatever it is. Start showing up at these events. Even just the film festival. You could have bought a ticket to go network during the film festival with all of these local and national talent.
Yeah, no, they had an opening party and a closing party and all
Yeah.
that for the Denver Film Festival, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of filmmakers there and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, take those classes because opportunities will come from a class. It isn't just knowledge; it's
Yeah.
also opportunity. And get me to write you your resume.
Yeah. Which what the name of the company one more time?
I work for Personal Touch Career Services, and
Okay.
I write resumes for corporate America, all industries, all levels. I specialize in private service and entertainment. And our actor's resume is a totally different resume, and we have templates. Most people get hung up on the template where they're like, it won't keep even. My tabs are everywhere. And I hate it. And they, you know, people get stuck on what do I put? Where do I put it? How to, you know.
Yeah. So you would be a great resource for people to reach out to
Yes,
if that's cool.
Absolutely.
So what would be the best way for them to do that? Is just kind of go to the website and kind of find you that way, probably?
If they're wanting resume stuff, you can go to personaltouchcareerservices.com and get a free 30-minute resume review. You just go to the connect and sign up, and either myself or Donna Shannon will talk to you about your resume.
That's
whatever industry you're in.
Right.
If you want to just reach out to me, you can follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn.
Yep. And connect with you
and connect with me.
Reach out.
Yeah, and I'm a huge connector. I love networking. I love opportunity and all of that. So I'm super open to anybody with a job or with a question. right?
No, for sure, for sure. Well, I did want to ask you, how has acting benefited you in your personal life? Because it sounds like you use it a lot of, with some of your work that you do for writing resumes and stuff. And like, I was just curious about that because I feel like people that have a knack for acting, I'm sure it's like, not that they're like pretending, but like just, I don't know. Is there any way that acting, I guess, has affected you in your personal life that you kind of...
Well, so I'm an introvert.
Okay.
Right? So I'm an extroverted introvert. So I need and I prefer not to be around people.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
So I recharge being alone.
Yep.
If it were up to me, I don't talk to people.
Sure, sure.
And I work from home, whether I'm writing resumes or coaching or doing a self-tape. I'm alone and I'm happy like that.
Sure. I'm introverted too. I mean, I'm
I
definitely
know how
introverted.
to, clearly I know
But,
how to
yeah.
get on stage and do a thing.
Sure,
But
sure.
afterwards I'm like, hey, there's a party. Ugh.
Right.
I want to sleep and not talk to
Yeah.
anyone.
Sure, sure.
So acting has helped me get confident in just being an extrovert and communicating with people and understanding other people's points of views. But as, a skill set, it's very helpful as an actor to have that skill set of empathy and to have that skill set of insight and to learn how to dissect situations and issues and questions, which as an actor, all we're doing is looking for motivation and objectives and why, right?
Sure.
And so I think as an actor, it's just helped me look at my life as opportunities that I'm able to step back from and question and figure out rather than just judge.
Sure, sure. Well, no, that's awesome. Yeah, totally.
That's my answer. I'm sticking to it.
No, yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, I mean, you touched on your social media channels and stuff, but what would be the at?
Oh,
I follow you on Instagram. I would have to look at it.
I think it's Dia Kline Official.
Okay.
And LinkedIn is Dia Kline.
All right. And then do you have like a website or
Yep,
anything?
Dia Kline.
Okay. Dia Kline.
And my YouTube, Dia Kline.
Cool. All right.
Branded, baby.
Yeah.
Branded.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Well, Dia, thank you so much for coming on. And like I said, I would love to do a whole episode on, what people should be prepped for as far as looking for a job. And I think we talked about it a little bit, but we'll dive into it on that episode. Job seeking, but also just like strategies for mapping out goals. I think that would be a really helpful and valuable conversation. So I'd love to have you back on to kind of do one specifically focused on that. But yeah, I really appreciate it. I think that I haven't done an episode yet on someone just kind of talking about acting. And I think, it's hard to know where to go a little bit, I feel like, for a lot of people in some of these things. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking about your experience. And I really think it'll be valuable for actors looking to get involved in the community.
Yeah, now you got the moderate part-time professional actor
Sure.
point of view.
Yep, totally. Well, no, thank you. I think this was great. So thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Cool. Well, this is Set Talks, the podcast that helps you navigate and connect with the Colorado film industry. Thanks for tuning in.
Here we go.